Hi, good morning. It is Smartdoll time, and I have here my anniversary Mirai here with me, and she's modelling this rather cute Snood. Now, if you've watched Wednesday, the Netflix programme, obviously Wednesday Addams, Addams Family, etc., etc., if you've not seen it, well, there's a certain point where her friend, her roommate, makes herself and Wednesday a little Snood. Wednesday's face isn't great when she sees it. It's not really her thing. But I couldn't resist having a go at making a Smartdoll Snood. So here it is. And we've even got the little bits. If you've seen the programme, you'll know why these little bits are on here. These little bits of fringing. So we're going to get down to making this. It is super, super easy. Really is. But I'm actually going to do it in the pink range, which her roommate does have a different colour, because she's sort of all more pinky and rainbowy. Like I say, if you've not seen it, they're very opposite on the colour spectrum. So this is really hard to see when I'm filming. So that is why I'm not going to do it in the black. But obviously you can do it in whatever colour you want. It's just a basic Snood that will fit our Smartdoll. I've got to be careful because this wig's a little bit loose. But you can pull it up so it goes up like those. And we can pull it down. So she's got it like that. Now I have actually just stitched it a little bit here as well to hold it in place. You don't have to do that. Ultimately, a Snood is just a massive tube, isn't it? So we're going to get on and make that. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I hope you're going to join me with it. If you do make one and you follow me on Instagram, something like that, please tag me just for a bit of fun. But seriously, this is so easy. Great for beginners if they're starting to make doll clothes and things like that. So I'll see you in a second, top down, with the beautiful Mirai here. Hi, Smartdoll time. Not done anything for a while, but I do have a couple of projects on the go at the moment to do as videos. This first one is a Wednesday Addams inspired Snood from the Netflix series Wednesday. Now, if you've seen it, you'll know what this means, but essentially her friend, her roommate Enid, made both Wednesday and herself a Snood. Wednesday was not that impressed with it, but she did actually wear it. And this is sort of what it was. It was just plain black because she'd done it in obviously Wednesday's sort of colours. And then they had these little sort of black and white tassels. That's why they're on there. So that's the only reason I've added that. Now I have actually stitched mine here. I know I've said this before, but it just sort of held it in place. But you don't have to. A normal Snood wouldn't be stitched, but I think sometimes on the dolls it holds them in place. That's the only reason I have done that. I am not doing it in the black because you won't be able to see it. But Enid does actually have a very pinky coloured one. Now this is nowhere near the exact colour, but I thought you might be able to see this one quite nicely. It is a double knit yarn. These are both double knits. This is just for the little fringy bit, so I can add a little bit of extra white for it. But be careful with the yarn. I know somebody's asked me recently about something they were making and it had come out a lot bigger. Now, I know essentially I use Starcraft yarns, which are great. They seem to be quite consistent in size. But like this one is another brand. I don't even know what brand this is, but there's a chance it could be slightly thicker. I have found that. In fact, the next project I'm doing for the Smartdoll, I have found that definitely. So I will explain what I've done with the yarns on that and how to adjust it when I get to that video. But this one, we don't need to worry too much about the sizing there. So I'm going to move Mirai here. Now this, as I mentioned before, is the anniversary Mirai. So she's my Mirai with brown eyes. And her wig she's actually acquired from one of my pull-up dolls. She doesn't normally wear this wig. But I just thought I wanted to try and get that sort of slight gothic vibe with her, that's all. So I think she quite likes it though, so I might leave it on her for a little while. So I'm going to pop her to one side because otherwise she's going to get in the way. And I can tell my son's been doing some building on my desk because there's little bits on here. I don't mind them using my craft room, but the rule is you must tidy up afterwards, which he has tidied up, but there's still little bits I can see. So we'll move the white out the way. Now, as far as the hook is concerned, I'm going to be using a 3mm crochet hook, which is sort of quite a nice size to use. I'm just thinking, I've moved the doll. I'm probably going to need her back, so I'm going to bring her back now. I don't know why I moved her in the first place, because I need her sort of just to show you a few measurements. Pop your arm down like that, missus. And I'm going to take the Snood off. Now, this wig's a little bit loose, so I've got to be a bit careful. But it's going to come off. I know it's going to end up coming off. Can you see how it's pushing? Right. Because it is actually, as I say, one that was on one of my pull-up dolls, not the Smartdoll. So as you can see, here we go, the Snood. It's not much, it is just a tube. I have done it in a V-stitch because I think it's a nice quick stitch, because I wanted this so anybody could do it. It's a great beginner's project. And again, you don't have to stitch it down like I stitched it down. So we're going to start with the chain. Now I'm going to start with 60 chain, but then I'm going to stop and show you something, because as I say, this pattern could be made for a tiny doll, obviously a different yarn, or it could be made for yourself. You could even do it in a chunky yarn. It is not really a pattern that shows exact measurements. It is something you can manipulate to suit whatever you are wanting. So slip knot on. Let's pull a little bit of this yarn out before we get tangled with doll and yarn, which is what usually happens. And I'm going to make 60 chain. Okay, so this takes a while, I know. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Don't make them too tight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Well, we're a third of the way there. It's very pretty yarn, this, actually. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, halfway. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Keep moving your thumb up. 37, 38, 39 and 40. We need just 20 more. So 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 10 more. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Right, that's my 60 chain. I'm stopping there because I want to show you how you would then sort of make it larger or smaller. Because what I want to do is I pop it around the doll's head, and as you can see, if it sits all the way around the head, plus maybe down to about the chest area, which is what you want, it's about right. So if you've got a smaller doll, you might need only 50 chain. If you're doing it for yourself, you might need probably going in the regions towards 300. I don't know. You would have to check that on your own head if you popped it over like that. So you can see roughly the sizing there, but then it might depend on how loose or tight your tension is. So there could be, again, a variation there. Now I'm going to actually do a line of just double crochet, so one row of 1 double crochet, UK terms, don't forget, into each of these chains. So here we go, because then I'm going to join it after that. You could join it at the chain stage. I just think it's a little bit easier to join it afterwards. And it doesn't take much when you sew the ends in just to sort of pull that tiny bit together. So off we go with our just 1 double crochet in every single one. Now what I think I'm going to do, I always say this, but then I change my mind halfway through. What I think I'm going to do with this video is I will set you off with the pattern. And then I will either, I've not done this before, so I've got to work out how to do it. I will either fast forward the midsection. I will tell you how many I've done, and then we come back to it, because otherwise there's an awful lot of rounds that are exactly the same. Now, I know some people are happy to sort of stay with me and things like that, but I know some of you do like to sort of whiz ahead, because you could be a lot quicker than me perhaps, or perhaps you want to sort of just do it in stages if you're a beginner. So it's just, it'll be the same round over and over again for X amount of rounds, which I'll tell you when we get to that bit. But I do need to show you the actual V-stitch that I'm doing. I love a V-stitch. It's a fast stitch, but it's not sort of just boring trebles. You know, it's got a bit of something to it. And it's sort of quite a compact stitch as well. So I do like it a lot. So we're going to go on just our 1 double crochet in each. You could start straight away with V-stitch. I like a round of double crochet at the beginning and at the end, just because I think it neatens it off. So here we go. We're approximately what? Well, we're over a third, aren't we? So I think we're not far off halfway. I like to sort of give this a little stretch out every now and again to make sure it's sitting smooth as well. So you can see you've got a nice line there, because otherwise it does have a tendency to curl and you can't see your work. So it is a good idea anyway. This wool is pretty, but I might actually regret using it. I don't know whether you can see on the camera, but it's like you can see tiny little fluffs along the yarn, which you do get with some. which it's fine, but it does have a tendency to split then, or catch, because of those tiny little, sort of tiny weeny hairs from the wool. It is an acrylic yarn, I'm pretty sure, but I can't actually remember, as I say, where I got it from. Almost at the end, then I'll give it another little stretch, and then we're going to join it into a ring. Looks like her wig's coming off again. It's probably not helping that the wool's going across her face. So I do need her so I can show you, but I think I might move her just for a little bit. We'll just have to pull her back over when I come to actually measuring the snood itself. How many more we got? Another 10, I think, something like that. Apologies for my voice still being a little bit croaky. I've had this cold. I mean, I feel a lot better now, but I've sort of been left with the residual parts of the cold now for about a week. So I had a little bit of a rest from doing videos, but because I did my intros as the cold started, and I'm actually doing this a week after I did the intros, because then the cold did sort of knock me for six for a little bit. But it's easy enough. It's just I've been left a little bit croaky, that's all. Right, so I'm done that line now, that row, and I'm just going to just straighten it all out. And you can see what we've got. I'm now going to join them. Watch for twisting when you join things. So I'm going to turn it over and keep it all nice and smooth. Fold it over. I need my wool out of the way before I join them, the wool to the back. And then I'm just going to pick up that very first, well, I will, if I can pick up both pieces. You need to pick up both pieces, it's not playing. Look, can you see how you've got your two sides? You need to pick both of them up, and that first one always like folds over a bit. There we go. So I'm now just going to do a slip stitch join. So it comes through one bit and through the next bit. Now hopefully that hasn't twisted. I will check, always check, because it gets a pain if you have to undo it. So yep, I'm happy with that, it's not twisted. And I'm going to start with 3 chain, 1, 2 and 3. That 3 chain actually counts as my first treble, but I need more than 3 chain really, because I need a treble equivalent plus a chain. Okay, because we're going to be doing a V-stitch, and into that stitch that we did, that 3 chain come from, we're going to do a treble. Did that make sense? I'm not sure if that made sense. And there we go. So basically a V-stitch is a treble. In this case it can be wider, it can be a different stitch, but in this case it's a treble, 1 chain and a treble, all in the same space. But when you do that, it means you have to miss X amount of stitches here, otherwise you'll end up with too many stitches. So we missed 2, because this is the equivalent to 3 stitches. Can you imagine? So you've got a treble, a chain and a treble, that's like 3 stitches. So that means you need to miss 2 before you do the next one. So we go 1, 2, and into this third one we go treble, 1 chain, treble into the same stitch again. Okay, now we need to miss 2, 1, 2 into the third one. We're going to do exactly the same. We're going to have our treble, we're going to have our 1 chain, and we have a treble. Quite often a V-stitch will have more than 1 chain in between. This is just a variation. There's lots of different types, so don't go, oh, I've not done, that's not a V-stitch, or oh, I've not done one like that before, or then say to somebody else, well, theirs isn't a V-stitch, because there's different versions, so it is very different. So we missed 2, 1, 2 into number 3. We're gonna do a treble, a chain, a treble, and again 1, 2, miss 2 into the number 3, treble, chain and treble. When you've done this first round, I know technically the double crochet round was your foundation row, but it didn't really start the pattern. So this is the foundation round of the pattern. So you get past this bit and the next bit's even easier. So we go 1, 2 and into the double crochet for number 3, chain and in again with our treble, miss 2. After a while you can see that miss 2 easier. This is why I didn't do it in the black yarn, because if I'd have done it in the black yarn you would not have been able to see it at all. I'm hoping this pink is showing up a little bit better. And I say it's quite a pretty colour. It reminds me of candy floss at the moment. So miss 2 into number 3, treble, 1 chain and treble, all in that same stitch. Miss 2. Actually makes you feel like you're going quicker as well. You're still doing 3 stitches because the chain counts as a stitch as well. But because you're missing 2, then it just makes you feel like you're going quicker. That's why I decided to do this stitch. Sometimes you need something to make you feel you're getting somewhere quicker. And if you are a beginner as well, it's nice to get something made nice and quick, straight on the doll. And it's an achievement. And also you've learnt a new stitch as well. I have taken some photos of Mirai in this black Snood. But I think I might have to take a picture of both, grab one of the other girls and do another picture so you can see the pink one as well, because her friend does have one, her roommate does have the pinky type, but I think it's more of a sort of a stripe the way theirs is created. There's a few people on YouTube who've made adult ones, I've seen that, sort of full size ones, so if you are wanting to make one for yourself, there are a few patterns out there, but to be honest, it's just a bigger chain, that's all it is, a longer chain and more rounds. That's it. There is no more to a Snood. Where are we going? No, not much more to do. So miss 2, 1, 2, and into number 3. It's like if you make a fabric Snood, it's only a tube again. Miss 2, in we go. Let's have a look where we're going. Miss 2, just be one more. Don't worry as well if you've got an extra stitch over at this point, because when we get to the next round you're not going to know, but mine's worked out okay there. So miss 2, and then I'm actually going to do a slip stitch into the top of that 3 chain, which was counted as a treble that we started with. So that's our first round. That's nice and simple. Now our next round, we're going to go into the actual chain spaces. So you're jumping in between these. You're not even going into a stitch. That's why I say it gets easier now. And I've actually got written down 14 rounds, but we're going to check on the doll when I get to about that 12. So I'm going to I'll do the next round with you, and then I might sort of speed the next section up until I get to round 12, and then we'll come back to how we finish it off and things like that. I hope that's going to work for everybody. I know usually I do stay with you all the way, but I think you might get a bit bored me doing 14 rounds of this round. That is counted as our first round though, so we will see how we go. Might do a couple, I don't know yet. I'm just going to play it by ear. So there we are. So we've joined there, but now we need to be in this one. So we're going to slip stitch in between the 2 trebles into that 1 chain space. We're going to slip stitch. And then we're going to start again, like before. We still have to start with 3 chain. There's no getting away with that. So that's our 3 chain counts as a treble, plus 1 chain counts as our 1 chain. Yarn round and just into that space. We're not going into a stitch, just going into the space. And that's our first stitch, okay? Now we're going to jump, literally, in between the next 2 trebles. So yarn round, we do a treble, a chain, and a treble. That's it. Jump between the next 2. Now be careful, you don't want to go between these. It's got to be where the 1 chain space is. So do watch for that if you're not used to doing V-stitches, because otherwise you're just going to be adding on extra stitches. So between the 2 trebles where the 1 chain is, we do it again. So it's 1 treble, 1 chain, 1 treble. Off we go again. 1 treble, 1 chain, and 1 treble. And we're going to keep doing that all the way around. But can you see how much easier it is? Because on the last round, you were having to go into a stitch. So you had to count where your stitch was and had to think about it a bit more. We don't need to think about it now. We just need to make sure we go in that 1 chain space between the 2 trebles. And that's it. So there's no counting. So it's one of those you can actually sit down on, maybe on the sofa. You could be watching TV, as long as it's not something you have to concentrate on. And you could just be sort of pottering away with this. So if you're making one for yourself, it's a real easy way of making a scarf. I mean, just scarf in general, let alone a snood. It's a nice stitch to use for so many different projects. I'm just trying to think whether I did a V-stitch tutorial. I have a couple of tutorials on there for a couple of different stitches. Not too many, just where I've done like a square. I've got a feeling I did do one. If I did do one, if when I do my editing it allows me to put like a thumbnail or whatever you want to call it at the end, then you can have a look at the stitch if you're not sure, or I could put the link. For some reason, since I've had the new editing thing, which is completely confusing me, I'm sure I'm not using it right, and I really do hope I'm going to do this right, it then tells me it can't put the thumbnail bits at the end because it's the wrong dimensions or whatever. I can do a few bits. I'm not mega technically minded, but I do know how to put my videos together, and I was fine until I put Windows 11 on the computer and it just upgraded everything. I didn't ask it to, it just did it. And I've had to learn this new system, which I'm not doing too well with, to be perfectly honest. I think if I knew how to use everything on it, it would be 100% better. I mean, the only thing I know how to do is join two videos. That's about it. But I'll get there, just learning a new bit every time. Look, we're already round. I love how this colour's changing. It's so pretty. Right, and into there. So we're round now, so we need to do a join again. So remember that first 3 chain, into the top of the 3 chain, we do a slip stitch. Make sure it's nice tight slip stitch. So that's another round. So now we need to get in between, don't we? So we're going to do another slip stitch in between where that 1 chain space was, 3 trebles, 1 chain, and back into there with a treble. So I'll do a couple more. So got to look for that chain space, so it's between. You can see, well, if I take this hook out, you can see the V shape that way. So the V has to be upwards. So don't get to these because you go, well, that's a V, but that's an upside down V. It's got to be normal position V and where the chain space is. So I'll do a couple more. That's it, treble, chain, and treble. Okay. Oh, it's changing to a very pretty baby blue now. So into every chain space, just treble, chain, treble. Can you imagine if you were doing a scarf, a big chunky scarf would be really nice and chunky. And for yourself, I'm on about now, not for the doll. It would work really nicely with this stitch. Because it also gives a slight laciness without it sort of being too fancy. I think I might have to use some of this yarn. I think it makes a really cute sort of doll hat. Maybe, I don't know, I think the Blythes leans more towards that cutesy look. So I think I'd probably sort of use it for a Blythe hat. I think that'd be really nice. A bobble hat for a Blythe in this. Because I really love this colour, the way it's coming out. I'm glad I used it now. I don't know where, like I say, where it's come from. I'm inclined to pick yarns up when I go to places, and then I just drop them in my yarn stash until I decide I need a certain colour and start rummaging. But yeah, that's coming out really nice, isn't it? That's really cute. Really cute. This couldn't be a snood for my Blythe, because as you know, Blythes have larger heads. Pullip though. Yeah, thinking about it. I don't actually have a pullip. It's pullip range dolls. I've got a Bile and I have a few dolls. And one, I never know whether I pronounce it right, is Yulumi. But their head is very similar size to a Smartdoll. That's why I pinched that wig off one of them for my Smartdoll for this particular project. So yeah, I could actually pass this over to one of those, couldn't I? So it will get used. And then, like I say, I want to make a definite Blythe hat out of this yarn. I've got to stop doing that. I start a project, like I've started Smartdoll new hats that I want to do. And then I get distracted by a different colour or a different shape or a different pattern. And then I don't get things done, which is not good. I have to be very strict with myself to be organised. Right, we're round again. Oh, it's turning to, so we're getting more of a turquoisey sort of blue now. Remember, 3 chain, top of it, slip a stitch, and round. Oh, I nearly went straight for 3 chain then. No, I need to slip stitch into my V-stitch, don't I? Slip stitch, V-stitch, 3 chain, plus 1, and a treble back in. I'm just going to pause for a second. Now, if you're worried how many rounds you've done, look how easy it is to count. Just 1, 2, and 3. So, which I didn't write number 2 down, did I? So I've already got 3 rounds there. So you can see how it's coming. You could actually leave it like that. Now that would actually, where are you, missus? Let me pull you back over here. You could actually just leave and just have a nice sort of little scarf at this point. But as you can see how it's starting to sit in the head area. Right, it's got to come down the back of the head for an actual snood. So that's why I'm sort of veering. Like I said, I'm sort of guessing this a little bit because I did have it written down when I made the black one, but I've lost the patterns. So I'm sort of winging it a little bit. I'm pretty sure it was 14 rounds. But we will look on the doll a little bit sort of further in. So I'm on 3 now. So I think I'll do another 9, and perhaps I'm gonna have a go at doing that other 9 on a speeded up one. I don't know whether that's going to work on the editing. I'm going to try that. So if not, I will crop it and come back to you with my 12. So I'm going to leave you to do your sort of up to, I would say, number 12, and then we'll come back and work the last bit together to make sure we know what we're doing. So I will see you a second with the next bit, I think. We'll see how that works. Right, so that's my 12 rounds in total done. As I say, it's really easy to count. You just count the V's as you go up. Absolutely love how this colour is coming out. But we need to have a look how it would fit on the doll. This wig is definitely going to sort of slip off. I could have done with putting something on it. So if we just pull this over her head, and you can see it's just a tube. That's all we've got. So, and imagine if I was pulling it down like that. So it needs to go on top of her head a little bit, doesn't it? So, like that. Now, that's not bad at the front. I'm quite pleased with that. But look, it does need that little bit extra here, I think. I think it needs to come down a couple more rows. So, up to you. You try it on your doll. If you're doing it on a different doll, you might find you're already there at the 12 rows in total. But the front, you can see, looks very, very cozy and snoody there. So, I'm going to take it back off her. I'm going to put her back over there. And together we're going to do the final sort of little bit of it, which is going to be 2 more rounds in the V-stitch plus 1 round in double crochet. So we'll do these together. So off we go. Remember, I've just done a slip stitch join there into the V, another slip stitch, 4 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, which counts as you know, our 1 treble and our 1 chain, and in we go. So this is our 13th round. You say you might feel you want it a little bit longer. You may feel, like I say, on your doll, it's enough. I don't know what that is. I think that, can you see it? It is not like anything off the cat or anything like that. It's actually off the yarn. It's sort of, I don't know what it is, but it's weird. It's sort of all like wound into it. So we'll carry on anyway. So you may have seen the pussycat. I don't think so, pussycat. She's snuck onto the speedy one. So you'll suddenly just see these little ears sticking out from the top. She's normally, not recently, it's not been normal behaviour for her. Since our doggy passed away a few months ago, she's been quite needy. So she likes to sit in here, which she wouldn't normally have done. But then she'll just sit and stare at the yarn. So I do have to watch her. I was doing it yesterday, and then all of a sudden she just jumped on the whole ball and pinched it while I was trying to do something. But if I shut her out, she's just going to cry, and I can't do that to her either. So she's just sat watching the yarn. I don't think you can actually see her from there now. She's moved up a bit. So this is our 13th round. Which we're almost round. I say it's so easy to make, and it converts into any doll size, teddy bear size, people size, anything that wants to wear a snood. Not pussycat. I can't imagine my pussycat allowing me to put a snood on her, so maybe not pussycat size. But some people do put them on their pets, and they're fine about it. You know, they're okay. A lot of dogs will do it, so it can just keep them warm if they're going out. So yeah, just make a tube. Make sure your chain is enough to comfortably fit over the head, plus a few inches extra, I would say, because you need that sort of slouchy look. And then you just make your tube. So anybody could be wearing this. Anybody, any pet, any doll. You'll have to let me know if any of you do sort of make them that are not for the dolls. It'd be quite interesting to see. Right, so that is our round 13. So I've got one more round. So remember, slip stitch into the top. And there we go. And you will see actually, well, you might not, depends on how fast it goes when you do it. I did go wrong at one point and I forgot to slip stitch into there. So I had to undo it. So we slip stitch in, 4 chain, which counts as 1 treble, 1 chain, and a treble into the space. Still can't get over how pretty this colour's coming out. So I'm quite looking forward to getting it finished. Definitely got to take some photos of one of the other Smartdolls with this one on. Don't know who it'll be yet. I think I need somebody with dark hair perhaps so it shows up nicely. That was the only problem with the other one. I know obviously Wednesday's got black hair, I suppose. So then you put the black snood on and then you can't really see the detail of the crochet. So I'm hoping the photos I've took of that will show up nicely. Because it does look really cute when you can see it sort of yourself, you know, without being filmed. So this is our last round of V-stitch. Yay! I mean, you could do all sorts with tubes. I mean, if you make tight tubes, you can make you can make dresses and things like that. The cat is definitely watching this one now, aren't you? What you doing? I know. At least she's not meowing at me now, so that's why I had to let her in. Got a few more V's to go. Oh, now I've gone wrong here. So I want to point this out for you guys. I'm actually going to continue. I shouldn't. Because if I look next, look what's happened. Can you see there's a V-stitch there, but I've only done 1 treble there. So I'm like, ah. Now, which I will do after the fact, I will undo that and go back and make sure I've got a V-stitch in there. But obviously you don't want to need to watch me do that. So just for now, I'm being a bit naughty and I'm just sliding the V-stitch in there just so as I can get the pattern finished for you guys. But yes, that does need undoing. It really does. Easy done though, because when you're doing trebles, you sort of get a bit carried away and you just keep doing treble, and then you go, oh no, it needed to be a V-stitch. But it does need undoing really. So I'm going to slip stitch join. I'm going to do 1 chain because I'm doing a double crochet round now, but I'm not going to go into every stitch. I'm still going to go into these spaces. I'm going to do 2 in the 1 chain space and then 1 between the V's. Does that make sense? Watch what I do. So I have a double crochet in the 1 chain space. Then I'm going to jump to this space, the one that I told you not to go in before, and I'm going to do another double crochet into the V-stitch, 2 double crochets into the space next to it, 1 double crochet, V-stitch, 2, next space, 1. You can go in the top of the stitches. I like to actually go in sort of over like this because I think it just edges it nicer, that's all. Basically, you're doing a double crochet in every stitch round, whichever way works for you. in theory, you should have 60 stitches like you started with. I'm not going to... Oh, there we go. Come on out. You're not having it. You thiefter. Now stop it. So she just sits there ages waiting and waiting and waiting. And then you pounce, don't you? Eh? Well, we've nearly finished, so you've not got much more to pounce on. So we must be almost round. Are we almost round? Yeah, well, that's where we started, so we're almost round. Didn't need a stitch marker because you can actually see where you start. That's why you start with the one chain and then go round, and it gives you a little marker to sort of show properly where you started. It's actually used quite a bit of this wool, hasn't it? Still think there's enough to do a little Blythe hat there. In fact, when I get around this, I'm going to show you how you could use this for something else, actually. This is why I say I get distracted too easily. But you could do a doll hat with just these V-stitches. Right, I'm going to slip stitch join. I will be undoing it later, so I'm not going to do that tight. I'm just going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to pull that through loosely because I need to undo it to go back and do that V-stitch. What I was going to say is you could actually do a doll hat. This is a way of doing a hat, but you wouldn't do it that far. You'd just go up to maybe there. This typically really for a Blythe sort of style, and then we just double crochet across the top and you've got a little hat. But that's not what we're doing, is it? We are doing our snood. So the only other bit I did on the other one to make it fit to how the film is, or this TV series, is I added these little things. It couldn't be easier. I know you've probably done them with me before. So all I need is, I'm going to go for 2 strands of the coloured and 1 strand of the white. With this one, it's not going to show as much. Obviously, the white shows up quite strongly on there. So you end up with the 3 pieces. You can make it thicker if you want. I'm just reaching over for a needle. I'm going to use one of my real chunky ones because I want to thread all 3 of these pieces of yarn through. But I folded them over, so I've got my little loop here. So the loose ends are here. This is where it goes over. I've just done that because I find it easy to thread through. So one end, you have a loop. One end, you've got the sort of just straight yarns. I'm going to choose a position. Now, I'm going to say where I started is going to be the bottom of mine. I'm going to come in from this way. I always have to think about this. Sometimes I have to redo it myself. I'm going to come in and I'm just going to pull through enough. So I've just got the sort of folded over bit here and the loose ends there. And I take my needle out now. I'm going to gather my folded bits and then I'm going to pull through the loose ends and just pull. Yep, so I've sort of make it really tight. You nearly do need to make it tight because it can come undone. I'm then going to trim. And then I'm also, now you might have seen me do this with some of my amigurumi, is then split it. Because it makes, oh, stop it, you little thief. Little stealer. Right, good job, I've nearly finished, isn't it? And then I'm literally going to just separate the yarns up. And it gives like a fluffy effect, can you see? Now this, apart from that gives a nice fluffy tassel, it also stops it coming undone there. If you're really worried about that, a little bit of fabric glue, you might then just need to trim, because when you do the fluffy bits, it does sometimes get bits that stick out. And you've got your little tassel. Now with this one, I just put the 4 on. I think perhaps you do need them all the way around, but I just did the 4 because that was at the front. Now let's grab Missy Smartdoll again. Over you go, Mirai. I know she won't want this colour on, but we'll pop it over her head. There it goes, and I'm just going to pull that bit down. Now, I mentioned I stitched mine. You can, if you want, depending on sort of how it sits, it's up to you where you want it to sit. You can sort of just stitch it. there, sort of, it does hold it, because otherwise it does pop up a little bit. But as you can see, it now comes all the way down the back. So our total of, it was 14 rounds, wasn't it? Let's double check. So if you need to check, wig's dropped off now, bless her, you can easily count 1, 2, 3. It says me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 rounds. That is what we needed for that. I actually think they look quite cute without the wigs. Let's pop her back over there though. So it's 14 rounds of V-stitch with a double crochet round at each end. And that's our Snood. That is it done. I'm going to now finish this off. I need to undo that bit and redo it, don't I? And then I am going to stitch mine down because I want to do a couple of photos of it as well. When you're making these for yourself, you don't sort of need that fold down because the weight of the Snood pulls it down anyway. But when you're doing it on a doll, it sort of stays stiffer. So you might need to sort of play about with that. So that is the end of our Smartdoll Snood, which is Wednesday Addams inspired from the TV show, which I did quite enjoy, I must admit. I will watch it when the next season comes out as well, which I'm pretty confident it's going to. There seems to be a bit of a Wednesday mania going about. I was a little bit late to the party because I watched it a little bit after everybody else had, because my Netflix was playing up, but I have seen it now and I did enjoy it. So that's it for today. Smartdoll Snood. See you all very soon. If you enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe and share, and pop a comment. I'd love to know whether you have done it for a doll or not for a doll, used a different yarn, things like that. But again, with this particular pattern, you don't need to really worry about your yarn, you don't really need to worry about your tension. You've just got to get that first set of chains to fit, and after that it will work for you. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye for now.